I'm somewhere in the middle, try to find myself again.
Hello everyone, I'm Allie and I am a domestic wannabe, and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I make videos on cleaning primarily, and I also just want to share things that my journey of becoming a domestic goddess that I strive to be. And on that journey, one of the things I tend to be working on primarily is getting my house organized and cleaned and just feeling more pulled together. If you've been watching recently, you'll know I just finished my big four, the four main spaces that we live in that just needed a really good declutter. And they were four areas that were trickling into each other, stressing me out, and just kind of a burden to carry. Well, I got those four spaces done, but one place that didn't quite get the attention I had hoped to give it was my fridge and freezer. So to start this video off, we are doing a fridge and freezer reset. And this is something I actually do quite often. I do it about once a week, or at least I do the fridge side once a week, usually right before garbage day, because I find there are just some foods we just don't get to fast enough, primarily leftovers. I'm really leery after a certain day of eating leftovers. So I will err on the side of not getting food poisoning and giving it a toss before I will risk eating it. So I do this pretty frequently, about once a week. When I do not get this task done, and I'll be honest, in this video, I hadn't done it for a little more than a week. When I don't get it done, meal prepping is so challenging for me. I can have so many ingredients ready to be put together into a great meal, and I just open that fridge and I am blinded by all the stuff that's in there, and I can't focus, and I just end up putting a pizza in or ordering out. And one of our family goals is to reduce eating out and save that money for vacations and for things that some pretty big things we are saving up for. So since that is taking more of a precedence in our life, getting the fridge and freezer really pulled together and meal planning down is my kind of an area I've been toying with for a long time, but now I'm getting serious. So the fridge and freezer refresh was needed. Now, the fridge, again, once a week usually. The freezer, not as often. And what I've noticed with the freezer is things go in here and they never come out because I forget about them. So I use this as an opportunity to kind of categorize things. And when I say things go in there and you forget about them, I want you to see how many bananas I have in that freezer. And look, I have 3 more ready to go in. For whatever reason, the 10-cent banana can't go in the trash. I have this impulsive urge to save them. Look how many I have in that vegetable bin. It's completely loaded. So while I did this clean out, I decided those bananas have to come out. I put them on the counter, and I actually committed to myself, if I don't cook with them today, they are going in the trash. I am throwing away. It's probably $1 to $1.50 worth of bananas right there. It's not even like going to break the bank. But I committed to myself. I'm taking them out. So if they're thawed, they either have to get used or they have to get tossed. And that's where I was at. I also moved things out to my outside freezer. Yes, I have a second freezer. Things go into these freezers and they are forgotten about. But can I just deviate for 1 second to say, when I got that outside freezer, I was like a 10-year-old getting a new bicycle. I was so excited for that freezer. So what I did do is make a note of some of the meats that we have, because I'm trying to use up protein we have before purchasing new protein. Again, going back to using what we have before buying more, that kind of thing. And I know you were all wondering, did she use the bananas? Yes, I used the bananas. I made some banana cake and banana bread. I I bit the bullet and I just did it. So I found a recipe for banana cake, which I have never made. And I also got a new camera lens, and this was me testing it out. And I'm not going to lie, this is going to be a short part of the video, but I have to learn how to use this new camera lens because I don't have my angles quite perfect yet. So I will work on it because I really love cooking and I like sharing recipes. So I bought this new lens hoping that it would just up my game a little in the recipe corner, and it turns out I need some practice. So bear with me, but I did work on, I made 2 big loaves of banana bread and like 4 or 5 banana cake pans that, you're gonna laugh, they went back in the freezer because we couldn't eat that much cake. So I now have a plethora of banana cake just waiting in our outside freezer, ready to go. So here's that banana cake. So I at least used up the bananas like I had originally intended. And now we have a sweet treat that's ready for when we need it. It's not something, we don't eat cake all the time. But I tell you, this cake is delicious. So it's nice to have it on hand, just take it out and thaw, and you can have a treat for a few days. And to me, ladies and gentlemen, I call this progress. Now, of course, nothing goes better with a freshly cleaned fridge than a trip to Costco and also Aldi and Walmart. So I did a big grocery day. Because I cleaned out that fridge, I was able to really do quite a bit of meal planning. And one of the things that I am working on, I worked on in the month of February, it was a big new transition, was actually meal prepping lunches so that they would be ready to go and eat instead of trying to stand at the fridge and figuring them out on the fly. So I had a full meal plan, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and I really worked on making sure I had everything for it. I made a great checklist. I ran to both Aldi and Walmart the day after I did Costco. So I had so much stuff that needed to go into that freezer, and I wanted to make sure it was all put away real seamlessly. So getting into this routine of doing weekly meal preps is really a new thing I focused on during the month of February. And part of that was figuring out after this grocery day where I spent over 2.5 hours both driving to and from stores, doing the actual shopping, everything like that. I realized to come home, unload it all, and then do several hours of meal prepping, it just was way too much. So this was the first and last time in February that I did a full day of shopping, and instead have started doing a once a week grocery order. I love shopping at Aldi, but I'm doing grocery orders from Walmart because that's what we have locally, and it just is so easy to do a pickup on Sunday morning. And one of the tricks that I learned is if I schedule my pickup earlier in the week, I for sure get the time slot that I want and it doesn't get taken from me. So I like to set up a pickup between 7 and 9 o'clock. I get my groceries right away in the morning. I get them put away, and then it only takes me about an hour to do some meal prep. And now my Sunday is back to being a family day and not completely consumed with grocery shopping and meal prep, which is what I want. I would rather be with my family than walking around grocery stores when everyone else is walking around grocery stores. They were so busy. I just didn't love it. So, this was my first and last day of doing a full grocery day and meal prep day. And one of the dishes I am making right there is I'm boiling some chicken for a really delicious lemon dill chicken salad. It turned out so delicious, you guys. I absolutely loved it. It's just light and fresh, and I put it on Costco croissants as one of our lunches for the week. So it turned out really great, and I did a lot of multitasking. So you're going to see I'm bouncing around from putting things away to cooking. And while that chicken was boiling, I was putting together my dinners into these baskets so that all I had to do was grab a basket and dinner would be ready. My whole point in my new plan of meal prepping and really eating at home and really limiting our dining out is making it easy for me, because I find that at the end of the day, I get tired, and those are the days that we end up spending $60 to $80 ordering food out at a restaurant or going to a restaurant instead of making the, $10 dinner that I have already in the fridge ready to go and getting it made. So I really, really was focused on getting that done. Now, I did have to get a few hand washables done, so I was always multitasking for this whole afternoon. I didn't have the best plan. I just jumped in and started cooking. And I don't often boil chicken, but this turned out really great. It was really it's a great way to cook chicken. It cooks it really thoroughly and it keeps it really juicy. So that chicken, all I did was add fresh lemon and fresh dill right to the boiling water. It's just so easy to have that cooking while I'm getting all the other stuff like dishes and hand washables and groceries put away. So it was a great thing to have going while I was doing all this other stuff, and so easy. I love watching this back, and as a little reminder of how easy it is to really pull together a great dish that can make you a lunch the whole week. So part of this meal prepping process that I started was making sure that I also am getting my fruits and veggies washed and ready to eat. I find that especially some of my fruits like grapes, if they're not washed and ready, I don't reach for them right away. I will reach for something that's even simpler, a piece of string cheese, something like that. So just completely a different food category. So getting fruits and veggies prepped, ready, making them appealing, making sure I have fresh on-hand items that we can just grab and eat was really important. So I stocked up on apples, I stocked up on bananas, more bananas, and just made sure I had fruits and veggies prepped and ready for the week. Now, I also restocked up on some snacks that we have, which is good because I'm not going to be doing my Aldi trips often, and these are a kind of a must for my kiddo. So just really, I bounced around getting everything put away into its home so we could start the week on the right foot with the kitchen with food completely ready to go.
But life is one big riddle of the future and what's been. Guess it's the way it goes, and I will never know why you let me go.
So one other thing I'm working on with this meal planning and meal prepping, being more diligent about meal planning and prepping, is freezing things down. Now, I talked earlier, I did my freezer clean out, but I also bought this double pack of bread for a family of 3. That is a lot of bread, but I froze one down because I've never actually done it with just a bag of bread, but I thought I would give it a try. And the price was like $1 more than what I would spend at the regular grocery store, than what I spent at Costco on a double loaf. So I thought it was a great time to try it. And it does, spoiler, it works great. So purchasing that kind of bulk items is what I want to be able to fit into my freezer so that I can maybe get my Costco trips from every 2.5 weeks down to just once a month and have it be reasonable. Because if you're like me, a Costco trip now is like a car payment. So I'm really trying to get this planning and using what we have and putting it to use in a way that saves us money, because that is kind of the point of having a Costco membership in my eyes. And I don't know if I've been utilizing this membership the way I should. So just really focused in on that savings and preserving the food we buy so that I'm not throwing it away.
Look to the left, look to the right. Nothing can stop me in the night, like I am leaving all the bad stuff and trying to remain so strong. I know it's good if I'm alone. I got it.
So let's jump back to this chicken salad. So after the chicken breast had cooled, I just cut it into cubes, and I am not a professional knife handler, but I do try to make sure I do not cut off my fingers. And I've learned that you're just supposed to curl them away from the knife. So I do the best I can there. But this chicken salad, all you do is cube it up. Now, you could buy a rotisserie chicken salad, and I think it would work fine. But I followed this recipe as was stated, and I actually really do like chicken breasts. I think their price is right. And by boiling them, these were so juicy, they weren't dry, and I didn't have like a mess from oil splattering. And I tend to overcook the outside of chicken when I cook it in the stove or on the stovetop. So I really liked this method of boiling it. And again, back to fruit prep. After my broccoli soaked for a bit, I did get my grapes as dry as possible. And again, this whole afternoon, it really took quite a big chunk of time, but that's because I was just bouncing back and forth from task to task. I haven't done this kind of grocery shopping and meal prep in one day for a very long time. So I was a little out of practice, a little out of season on how I would normally do it. But it was a really good way just to throw myself back in. And I tested out my week 1 of doing this meal prep. The recipes I picked were like chef's kiss. Every night I felt like a gourmet chef, and everything tasted great. It was fun to cook. It was new and exciting, and it's just something I needed to get myself back into this habit of cooking in the kitchen and eating at home. So one thing I wanted to mention with getting my vegetables prepped, now I'm getting the celery ready because it's actually going to go into this salad, but there's some things that I think some people think are just common sense, and sometimes it doesn't occur to everybody. And case in point, one time I was getting ready for a friend's baby shower, and it was several of us hosting, and I was getting the celery ready for the veggie tray. And all of the like the tops that I have basically right here in this image, kind of off to the side, all of them I was getting ready to throw away. And one of the gals I was doing the shower with, she's like, why would you throw those away? Those are great to use in so many other things. And I was like, why would I keep them? Because I don't personally eat them. And she grabbed one. She goes, no, they taste great, but they're great in soups and stuff. And in my younger years, early, or that was probably late 20s, it didn't occur to me that those were useful. And now, I mean, the things you learn, right? I remember kind of rolling my eyes like, are you serious? You eat those? But you guys, those work so well. So I'm actually making a pile of everything that I'm not using for my vegetables, and I put it into a freezer bag, and thank goodness I cleaned out that freezer, because now there's room for my veggie soup base broth. Basically, I have started making my own veggie broth. It's so tasty, it's so easy, and it uses up all these odds and ends of vegetables that I don't eat, that I didn't ever think I could eat. Just the naivety of things I took for granted. And I put them in the freezer, and when I'm ready to make a veggie broth or a veggie stock, I just get it done. And it tastes so good. So again, you do need to have the freezer space, which I didn't before, but today I refreshed that freezer, so I have space for it. So all of it's just getting set aside, and I put it in a freezer bag until the freezer bag's filled up. Then I make the stock. And it always turns out really good. I say always. I've done it once. So again, just a new habit I'm getting into using, really utilizing the food we make and trying to save, even a few pennies here and there. I'm not looking to, get rich quick making my own veggie stock, but I am looking to be more useful and resourceful with the sources that I have. Now, what you saw me add to that chicken salad: celery, red onion, a green apple, and then mayonnaise. Now, this mayonnaise. So I'm glad I bought mayonnaise when I was at the store, because I thought I was running out, and I was. But in the middle of the night, after making this salad, I woke up like at 3 a.m. and had to think for a second that, wait, I don't think that new mayonnaise was sealed. Like the paper coating that, you peel the seal off, it came off with the cover, which then made me panic that this chicken salad, which my husband had already eaten a sandwich of, I had taken a bite of, I was now convinced in the middle of the night that we were going to get food poisoning because the mayonnaise had been opened. And if you've ever done something like that, leave a comment below. I literally laid there like I have to throw away this whole chicken salad and it tastes so good. And well, I will tell you, I did not throw away the salad. We did eat it. We didn't get sick, and we have eaten the mayonnaise since. But I was really worried about that mayonnaise, and I really still feel like I should have taken it back and gotten new mayonnaise. And when I was making this, it didn't occur to me until 3 a.m. that coating that should be covering the mayonnaise was not sealed on. It wasn't something you had to peel off. It just came off. So I did have a panicked night, but we risked it and we ate it and we turned out just fine. So this made a lot for sandwiches. I planned on having it as a chicken salad as well with lettuce. And it made so much that we did not get to finish it all by the end of the week. Again, leftovers do make me feel a little worried if it's gone too long. So chicken salad, absolutely delicious. I will link the recipe in the comments below because I had it of my 5-star rating that I'm doing with recipes. I had it as a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved that chicken salad. So I also was prepping some snacks. I had, again, that Costco shop. I have some white cheddar, which is so good. I recommend getting the white cheddar from Costco. It is amazing. And I just kind of cubed it up with that, and we went to a local meat market and got some hard salami, and I had that ready for snacks, again, to pack for lunches, to just have on hand ready to go.
Remember I was laughing in all the photos that you took, but now it looks like acting, like we were fiction in a book. Guess it's the way it goes, and I will never know why you let me go. Look to the left, look to the right, nothing can stop me in the night, like I'm leaving all the bad stuff.
So as part of this meal prep as well, I did freeze down like my naan bread. I also froze down extra croissants, keeping out what I knew we would need. And then I made a homemade rustic bread. Now, I was inspired from a baby shower that was hosted by a family member who is one of the best bakers I have ever met in my life. She had made a similar bread to this for this baby shower, and it was so good. She served it with wild rice soup. Oh my gosh, chef's kiss. If I could go back and have more of it, I would. But I found this recipe online. I didn't want to bug her because she was in the process of, around that time, having a grandbaby. So I wasn't going to bug her, but I did find a recipe that I figured would be similar. And this was so tasty. Lots of fresh herbs in this bread. I'm getting the herbs all chopped up and the yeast, getting it, I forget what it's called, but making sure the yeast is good and getting it all bubbly before you add it to the bread. I love this. It's easy. I will make this bread again. Absolutely loved it. And this was for a Italian dinner we would be having later in the week. And again, just something I had to get prepped early because it needed time to rise.
To the right, nothing can stop me in the night, like I'm leaving all the bad stuff and trying to remain so strong. I know it's good if I move on. I got it. I gotta go, running to better times. Go, from my emotions. I'll go, running to better times, to better
things I am most proud of myself for as I ended the day of cooking and shopping and being kind of tired is I tidied up the kitchen to make sure it was ready for me to start the next day. Again, did a few more things that needed to be frozen down just to keep them longer. And starting the next morning with just going over the recipes that I have. So I just wanted to read through my rustic bread recipe to make sure I knew what I was going to be doing. And of course, I still would have a sink full of dishes. Dishes from dinner, dishes from the meal prep. 2 loads the day before just wasn't enough. So getting everything all caught up so that I can start cooking that bread the next day. So my rustic bread was made in my cast iron Dutch oven. You guys, it is so easy, so delicious. I highly recommend it. It was baking while I made a penne alle vodka, which we didn't have vodka, it turned out. So it was penne alla, vegetable broth. And look how delicious this bread turned out. Like it looks good, and it was so easy. So I highly recommend it, hands down. I will link it below. Tell me what you think of these recipes. Tell me if you liked this video. I know it's a little different than what you're accustomed to from me, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will be back shortly with another new video.